Hello everybody. Before we start, we're rookies at this and we're pretty dumb. So, before we go into anything else, please don't expect...
You're making excuses, man. You can shut the window.
Yes, don't expect a masterpiece.
Or even a masterpiece.
Don't even.
We're both teachers at International House Torren. I'm the more experienced of the two, and this guy is a complete noob.
I've been since September of 2015, so a few months. Wait, should we explain what we're doing first?
Oh, what? Go on then.
We've got questions for each other. We thought it might be nice, so I'm, as a noob teacher, him ask me questions about my thoughts and my feelings and emotions.
I pretend I care sometimes.
And he's gonna ask, and I'm gonna ask him some questions about him reigning supreme over all of the new teachers. Okay, by the way.
Alright, so, my first question is probably the question that I get asked the most. Why Poland?
Why Poland?
Yep.
It's not 5,000 miles away. You know what I mean? It's still like the EU. I've got to admit, I had no idea what I was walking into.
Yeah, I like when students they ask like, oh, what ideas did you have about Poland or Torren? I was like, nothing.
Nope.
I knew where it was.
Poland, yes. Well, it's very hard to miss on a map, isn't it, Poland? No, it was the school. The sort of the focus on teacher development and not being, again, 5,000 miles away in Hong Kong or somewhere where it would be both culture shock and it would be a completely different mentality. Also, what I thought. What do you think the biggest mistake a new teacher can make at the start of their teaching career? The first job, what do you think the biggest mistake they can make?
That's a hard question. Not asking questions, I think, is the biggest mistake. Whenever I've had the biggest trouble, is when I've not asked questions, when I've not asked the stupid questions. When people go, no, I'm just going to muddle through, it'll all go fine, even if, you're having a terrible time in lessons and people are complaining or whatever. No, just talk to people, get some ideas, get some strategies in place or whatever. How much of a fraud do you feel when you step into that classroom?
That is a brilliant question. Sometimes I do have moments when they can come up with an English question, like because hands up, being a new teacher, I would love to say I know the grammar backwards and forwards.
You do, but just not how to articulate it.
Yeah. So sometimes they can ask you a question really quickly that I've never even heard when I first started saying, what's the future perfect continuous, and how of this, and I'd be like, oh, mother of God. And I'll have to see an example. But once I say the example, it's fine.
Of course.
There's these moments. I don't think it's too bad, but there's these moments of just extreme. Oh my God.
Do you think that it's important for a teacher to seem kind of invulnerable, omniscient?
Well, no. I mean, that can get you into trouble, because if you don't know and you do need to check, sometimes it's just better to just say, like, look, I don't know the answer. What was it? This psychoanalyst? Someone asked me how to spell it, and I was like, oh. The combinations of the P's and the Y's and the S's, I was like, I couldn't remember the order. And so I was like, I had asked a guest, I got the whole class to sort of in pairs guess, to get their best guess of how to do it. And then I checked. I will admit, I googled it.
No. I think that's totally the right answer. So any question, your first port of call is to pass it on to the group.
Yeah.
See if that's
off.
Yeah. Because that is more useful.
So think back to the dinosaurs when you first started. What was the toughest thing you had to deal with when you first started?
My worst class was a business class which had the winning combination of extremely high demands but extremely low effort. And it involved the HR director. So what I used to do was I used to take
Hi, by the way, if you're watching.
I used to take a big slug of coffee. I never normally drink coffee. I just super strong, three teaspoons of coffee, and walk in there and just get tough and mean and
just get jazzed.
I think that's not what they said they wanted, but that's kind of what they needed. They needed someone to be a personal trainer and be strict with them, not some wishy-washy first year teacher being nice and kind and trying to appease them, bend over backwards. No. What's been your biggest panic moment so far?
It's got to be observations.
Yeah?
I imagine that was the answer you were expecting. It's
No, I don't know.
observations, and not just because once you're getting started with the observations, it's fine. It's them few minutes before you start, and you're like,
Okay, like,
because we've had to do a grammar observation where we had to have presented grammar in the lesson. You had to actually like be taught on top of you showing that you could teach them. Do you know what I mean? So you were actually teaching something difficult alongside having to show. So I was trying to.
Yeah, you had to show you could do your job
and actually do my job at the same time.
That's amazing.
Because sometimes two things can be different. You can appear to do your job and actually do your job. So I had to do both. And sometimes when you think you have enough stuff planned, especially in the first couple of months, right? So when you first you think you've got enough content for the lesson, and then you've got 20 minutes.
But how much of the lesson is pulling stuff out of your magic hat and planning? Be honest.
But there's sometimes there's 10 minutes at the end, and I think it's quite nice to play games at the end.
Yeah. I think the mistake that people make is like they call filler activities just filling time. It's not. They can be valuable stuff. I think we should make time for these kind of.
Well, it's like a cool down after a workout, right? But how do you deal with the sort of everyday stress of teaching? Because it can be quite a stressful time, especially if you've got like not just the lessons, but there's also like other work involved.
Yeah.
What would you say is a top tip for dealing with the stress?
I think denial, not thinking about things. I think it's probably my personality. I don't tend to get stressed. I think this is a good and bad thing. Focus on what you need to do next, that's all. Don't worry about everything else. You can't worry about everything else. So get a lesson, get it done, move on. You don't really need to care about 10 problems, you need to care about the next problem. That's it. Favourite level / age?
I quite like teens, upper and teens.
Problems with upper and teens, like teens are lazy. And
but the thing with
upper intermediates, they know enough English to say what they want now.
Teens are a challenge though, which I quite like about them, and they can have this quality where they can have this sort of like young learner-ish sort of life to them, where they do like doing these fun running around kind of things.
Yeah.
As do adults, of course, but also you can have serious, really cool conversations with them, and normally they're a laugh. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And again,
they've got personality, right?
They've kind of got like high standards of what they expect from you. Do you know what I mean? They will sit with and roll their eyes and not want to take part. Yeah. So you have to up your game if you want to get them involved.
It's the thing, like adults also have high standards, but they don't show it.
What do you enjoy most about teaching, and has it changed?
It's the thing where you have a student and you see progress. That little thing where the light goes on and they're like, right, that's why we do this small thing, this small bit of language. Or this piece of grammar, whatever it is.
They did not know this, and you know it.
Yeah. You have improved them in some small capacity.
You have molded them.
Yeah, I like the power to do that.
Yeah.
What about you? That's a good question.
Yeah, I would completely agree. When even if it's something very small, and you see the little faces light up. When they figure it out, it's more. I think you can see, like, especially on young learners' little faces light up when they figure something out,
making a difference.
Yeah.
In 5 years.
5 years.
In 5 years, what are you going to be doing?
Teaching. It really is. It doesn't even feel like a job. Do you know what I mean?
Does it not?
Well, there's a lot of work. It's a lot. No, it's a lot of work.
More classes.
No, it's a lot of work. But at the end of the day, it's like you get to know the people you teach.
It's a varied job. That's why.
It's a challenge. You never have the same day twice. You could do the same lesson again, but I mean, you may have more people in the class, and they may be in a different mood. They may be up for doing what you've planned. Things can go wrong. You never have the same day twice, and it does sort of fly over. Yeah, I feel anyway.
I mean, I kind of like it because you got all this. You got the office environment with the banter and stuff like that. But in our office environment, we're spending a lot of time researching and learning things, and working stuff out, solving problems. like solving dynamic problems, which you're going to have to solve in the next hour. You know, it's really, really good.
Or else.
Yeah, or there's going to be problems. And then at the end, we give a nice performance and make people happy. Or make them sad.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Walk in there, test, they're not going to be happy.
No. My kids love tests.
Do they?
Yeah.
Can you look into the camera and see that?
My kids love tests because I don't set homework on test days.
So maybe they don't like they like that they're not going to get homework and not the
Yeah.
tests.
You can have a carrot at the end of it, right?
It's like a bribe. Okay, that's kind of all the questions we have. If there was any more questions for us, I suppose we could
entertain comments.
yeah, and put them in the comments. Maybe we'll read them and
we'll definitely read them.
yeah, we'll read them and either we'll reply in the comments or we'll reply in a further video. If this,
Who knows?
yeah, who knows? We're new at this, so be gentle. Okay.
Later.
See you later.